morning, everybody, and welcome into another PM in the AM show here with me, my man Mike Lauer. Good morning, Mike.
What's up, Pat?
What's up, Michael? And of course, the man producing the show, the man does a great job as always, our big man, Al Safir. What's up, Al?
What's up, boys?
What's up, Al?
Sunday morning, and here in Philadelphia sports, there's just never a dull moment. There's always something to talk about. But look, tons of action this past week. But look, we are going to start out with your red hot 76ers, 8 straight dubs, and man, just finally, Embiid is getting the recognition for MVP and for MVP. I call him MVP because he is playing on another level. Again, averaging 30 points a game. Running the league right now in points. Just there's no one can stop him right now. When he's on the floor, he is a problem. Again, you saw it last night. No James Harden, no problems. And because you got guys like Maxey stepping up, guys like Tobias Harris, they were shooting the lights out from the perimeter. Just overall good play. And you would think there would be a little, fatigue setting in on the team since they're playing off a back-to-back, but there wasn't. They just played strong. And I get it. The Charlotte's, Charlotte and the Indiana Pacers are not really the world beaters of the Eastern Conference. However, wins are wins, and they're collecting. So, Mike, I'm going to go right to you. What's your take with this red hot 76ers team?
Oh, they played really, really well last night. I'm really impressed with Maxey. Maxey kind of stepped in for Harden last night, and you could just see, I'm looking at his numbers right here, dude. He was 12 out of 18 for field goal percentage. He was 5 for 9 from 3-point land. He was really hitting his shots. And you're right, dude. Tobias Harris really did step his game up last night. He was 9 of 12. Okay. Another one. He was 4 out of 6 from 3-point land. So, he was money last night. The Sixers would look like they were hitting from behind the arc a lot last night. And I'll tell you what, Joel just put in a Joel, performance, 31 points, he had 7 rebounds, 7 assists. Assists for a big guy. 2 blocks.
He made some moves yesterday. Big man hard.
Yes. And you know what, just going off the post game, game interviews rather, like Mark Jackson said, the scary thing is about the Sixers with all these road games tells you they're not afraid to play anywhere now. And it's actually did them a solid.
Right. And if you remember too, they were just in Indiana, about a week and a half ago?
Yeah.
And they had a dog fight with them. It was almost 240 points were put up in that game. It was what was it, 137, 130, right? Or something like that. It was ridiculous amount of points. So for them to really go in there, granted, they gave up over, they gave up 120, but they put up 140. So you just take that as a solid win last night, man. They almost put up 150. Think about that. They were 9 points away from putting up $150 on somebody.
You're right, and
that's scary.
The funny thing is, Mike, you bring a good point. A team like the Indiana Pacers always usually gives the Sixers a fits.
Well, they have good shooters. They have Buddy Hield as a part of that team. I'm sorry, was it Miles? What the hell's his name?
Oh, you got Nesmith, who's a good shooter.
Yeah.
Even TJ, who's that scrappy guy still in the NBA. There's a guy I give TJ McConnell a lot. I didn't think he was ever going to be in the NBA after the Sixers were done with him.
Right, and he's still hanging around. So
he's a glue guy, I guess. As they would.
Yeah, TJ McConnell. Dude, he didn't. You don't see much going on there, but yeah, Nesbitt, Miles Turner. Miles Turner had 20 points last night for them. Like I said, Buddy Hield. He had again. He was 3 from 6. But yeah, Naismith and what's his name here? Nebhard. Nebhard. Yeah, both of those guys are really good players. So, and it looked like they played with a short bench last night too. It looks like they only had a 4 player.
Well, they had a couple injuries. The Sixers sat Harden
and
PJ Tucker because they have to.
Right.
And I don't want to. And here's the thing: is I feel like we can get away from the term scheduled loss. Maybe at this point they're we're okay with the loss at this point, but we don't have to lose it. And I think the biggest takeaway from any game like this, a back-to-back, traveling back-to-back, it's not like you're playing home back-to-back. You went from Charlotte, and you put a whooping on Charlotte.
Then you put a whooping on
and then you come back into Indiana, and then you put a whooping on them, and with more bench pieces.
Yes.
And you were saying about Toby. I mean, it's nice to see guys like him, and not that Toby's a starter, but when Toby doesn't have his James Harden around or his Reed around, like Paul Reed played well. Like, who's the new guy they just brought in?
Jalen McDaniels.
No, yeah. Which thank God his was just a little couple of days sideline injury.
But even still,
the new big man. I'm talking.
Oh, Damon.
Yeah, Dedmon. You know, I was like, what a loser.
So do you think that's the end of Montrezl Harrell?
Well, when was the last time Montrezl saw?
Well, I mean,
yeah.
When you look at it, it said did not play coach's decision. So
yeah,
do you think he's on?
Yeah, I just looked at him. Yeah, he was not. Like I said, he hasn't been in. He has remediated to probably big man number 4,
right?
And which shows some growth in Doc, because Doc usually would not play Reed. He would play the vet, and Reed has kind of earned some stripes with him. I mean, listen. Paul Reed's not the next Joel Embiid in any which way, but from a backup standpoint, you got Dedmon from the veteran standpoint. You got Paul Reed from the young guy. But he's just all over the place. I think this is the one problem playing behind a Joel Embiid. You try to play and mimic Joel Embiid, and it just doesn't.
It's not panning out.
No.
So again, big night from the Sixers, and like Mike alluded, Embiid 31 points, Maxey 31 points. And like you said, when Tobias Harris needs to step up when one of the 3 major stars goes down or takes a break, he comes up big. And again, 24 points for Maxey. I mean, for Tobias Harris. I mean, just an overall good game from Tobias Harris.
Had some good scoring too last night. Yang had 10 points.
And what'd you say?
Reed had 10 points.
And what'd you say Tobias Harris was from 3-point land?
5 of 6, it looked like.
5 for 6. Think about that. 5 for 6 for Tobias Harris. Again, guys stepping up his game when need be.
Catch and shoot was on last
night. Yeah, catch and shoot, in transition.
I was calling him Captain Catch and Shoot because that's what he was. I think it was 4 for 5. He was 75% from there. Okay, yeah.
And again, 4 for 5. Great spacing, and like you say, catch and shoot, just quick releases, bang, and he was making those shots. So Tobias Harris really putting in the dividends, putting in the work.
Shots last night, to be honest with you. Yeah. Tobias Harris only missed 3 shots out of the 12 he took.
Right. Hey, so that's money.
Yep.
That's money. But here's the thing too, like you said, they were without Harden last night, and to be able to come in off of that back-to-back, it's a tough thing to do. But I mean, and especially the last time you were in this place just over a week and a half ago, okay, you kind of had to battle. Yeah, like the Sixers look like they put up the same amount of points. If you remember Harden, you had Harden and Tucker in that game. So they basically put up the same amount of points as they did the last time they were there. Again, like they put up almost, like I said, they almost put up 150 points. Think about that for a second. Like that's unreal without going to overtime.
Right.
This is regulation basketball. The Sixers almost put up 150. And then this is without Harden in the lineup. That's scary to think, man.
That's scary. And look, the Bucks are sitting on top of the hill in the Eastern Conference, but not by much at all. So, Mike, just to get back a little bit on Tobias Harris. Like I said, 5 for 4, 4 for 5 from 3-point land.
4 for 6.
Okay, he was 4 for 6. Okay, Tobias Harris 4 from 6 from 3-point land, 24 points. Mike, what is your take on Tobias Harris right now?
I think he's the secret weapon, and the only reason why I'm going to say this is because if you just go back over his last 2 playoff seasons here. Tobias is really the only guy who showed up for the Sixers.
Yeah.
Like when the money's on the table in the postseason, I feel good about Tobias Harris because he's the only guy who's shown the heart and the will to go out and play playoff type basketball. Right. So hopefully Harden and Embiid, there's our boy checking in.
Thanks, Joey. What's up, brother? So yeah, Mike, to allude about the whole Tobias Harris situation again. When the money's on,
do you feel comfortable?
I feel great.
I think the Sixers are in a really good spot.
It's a depth thing. They've never had depth, and you know what? Maybe it was hard to see the forest through the trees situation with them early on. Like we didn't know, like a guy like Daniel House, who
kind of say Daniel.
It's Daniel, however you say it. Yeah,
I call him House.
Yeah. Daniel.
He was House money.
Yeah, well, my point is a guy who was regulated to, second string, third string at times. He accepted his position and he's been playing well at it. Like When he comes in, he produces. D'Anthony Melton, which is what I was raving about the second they got him. I was so happy that they picked him up instead of picking a first-round pick because I was so afraid. They're like, oh, we can do another Maxey. The odds of you getting another Maxey, a guy who can make a difference immediately, was not going to happen.
Yeah, that dude, I mean, Melton can shoot the lights out of the ball,
Tyrese Maxey, by the way, 31 points last night.
Yeah.
Jesus, Mary Joseph. I mean, it just shows there's only one ball.
No, I didn't see the beginning part of the game. Did he start?
Yeah.
Did he start?
Yeah,
Okay,
so their starting lineup was Maxey, Melton, Embiid, Harris, and House.
Yep.
House actually got the start last night.
So again, what we alluded about Maxey, him starting is another. He's just another player. Again, he's got the aggressive. He's got the swag. He's got the energy for you.
I'll tell you what, House brought it last night too.
Yeah.
I saw the beginning of that game too.
Oh, yeah.
House was,
he got his chance and he ran it.
yeah.
The one thing is, it's funny. Like we have to give, we always say you got to give Doc credit.
Yes.
We always tend to blast him when it's a bad thing and not give him any credit when it's a good thing. But he was smart. Niang was off last night, and he did not. I think he was like 2 for 6 from 3-point. He was 4 for 9 for field goals. I think he only had about 10 points, but he was a -1 last night.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, his defense is where it gets you. So they saw it wasn't working, and he didn't run him into the ground. He didn't keep trying to go back to that. And Paul Reed, he got 15 minutes last night. So between him and I think Dedmon only got about 3 minutes at the end of the game, and that's what Dedmon's going to get.
Right.
He's going to get if Reed gets in some foul trouble or Embiid does, or they're up or down by a significant amount of number.
Right. And what I liked about the Charlotte game as well, like there wasn't like you had in the back of your mind, like, okay, when are they going to let up a little bit? And they didn't on the Charlotte. They just put their foot on the gas pedal. Like Charlotte had no chance to even in that game. They were up by so many, and like last night again, a little battle tested in the beginning. The little fatigue was in there, but NB got in NB mode, and Maxey, like I said, starting and being complete firepower for them. It's just again.
Well, they got a test coming up this week.
Yeah, well, again, they're going to hit the road like as Doc said in the post game interview. He said, "Listen, we're coming in Monday just to do laundry. Going to play the Bulls, and they hit right back onto the road because you got the Bulls, you got Golden State, you got a tough little Western road trip.
Well, they got a back-to-back with Golden State and Phoenix. Like a lot of people don't realize that they play Friday night, Golden State, Saturday, Phoenix. So that's going to be.
And then Monday you got the Nuggets.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're looking at it, dude, like.
Well, here's the good part. Here's the good thing to look at. How long have we since the All-Star break have we been saying some tough sledding?
Right.
Tough sledding.
And they performed really well.
Yeah. I mean, when was the All-Star game, by the way? That was
like a month ago.
Yeah, but that was right before. What was the last game before the All-Star game? Was
it wasn't like February, like mid-February. Remember?
We came back. They played the Grizzlies, right?
Yeah.
They ended with the Cavs, and they played the Grizzlies. So I mean, if you just look at it, that's win Grizzlies. They beat the Celtics. I mean, lost the Celtics that game. They lost to the Heat. They had that back-to-back. They're like, oh, here we go. And they walloped the Heat when they came back here. The Mavericks had Kyrie just had a game, and him and Joker played. They had a game. They beat the Bucks, and that's when they went on the run. Bucks, Pacers, Timberwolves, Trailblazers, Wizards, Cavs, Hornets, and then Pacers last night. So now you got a home and away against the Bulls coming up, and
right.
And they got to travel again. I mean, that's a lot of traveling, and the fact that they haven't kind of fallen off, and the Bulls it's going to be a scrappy one. They're
a scrappy team.
They're going to try. They're trying for a playoff.
Yes, they're going to try to hold on to that 10 seed, try to move up. Again, they're holding on to that last spot for a play-in tournament. Again, you guys got we all know Zach LaVine. You got Nikola Vukic, of course, the old Sixer. So again, they got a couple guys, Alonzo Ball, who like I said, that's DeMar DeRozan. So they got a couple guys who can play, but and like I said, they're going to try to hold on to that play-in tournament.
Pretty much. I mean, Pat, if you're looking at the Sixers schedule, they leave Monday night.
Yeah,
they leave or Tuesday morning, however you want to look at it. They leave Tuesday,
head up to Chicago.
And they don't come back until Wednesday. Their next time back
the following week.
It's like the next week, Tuesday, because they play Monday night in Denver. So you imagine after that game is when they fly home. So they're getting in Tuesday. before their
yeah.
game Wednesday here.
And I want to touch on what you said too about Doc. Al, he is, like you said, we all pound him down when they're losing and all this other stuff, but he definitely deserves some credit for doing a decent job with this Sixers team. Again, finding out the rotations, like you said, guys are not performing well. He knows how to rotate them out, all that stuff. I mean, he's really doing a fine job as the 76ers head coach right now. And like I said, you can't knock him for what he's doing. Again, he's keeping for a guy who's been around the league for quite some time as a veteran head coach, he is doing a phenomenal job coaching this team. So, Mike, what are you taking away from Doc right now?
I think he's making good decisions. Joe Sullivan checking in said gave House props in my article. Looked like an idiot all year, and now he's showing something.
Listen, we've said it a lot on EOP, not just with you, like on this show, but on EOP. Freddie was one of them. I would say probably one beating his chest the hardest about it was that, and Joe Sheeran even said it a lot too. Like this team has altered itself a lot over the years, and so there's a whole thing about playing with each other, just not putting good players together. It's not going to always mean anything. Ask the Nets how that worked out.
Yeah.
When it doesn't always mean it's gonna mean a championship or a well-oiled machine. And it just seems like maybe it took that time for them to kind of know the roles. They had to test out Maxey off the bench. Didn't really work out well for the team. But I'm not saying he's never going to come off the bench, but I think we've probably seen a bit of the last of him coming off the bench. But
I would think so. I mean, to me, I want to give Sam Cassell a little credit in this too. I know we're giving Doc a lot of praise, but if you watch, like, how about the game? I was in here with you Wednesday night, and we had the game on.
The AM and the PM.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, by the way, for joining me at the last moment.
Oh, anytime. But I remember sitting here watching the game, and I remember they were going to a timeout, and the Sixers at that time were down 13. And me and Al were sitting there, we're like, oh, here we go. And I saw Doc kind of being the calming presence, but literally right behind them was Sam Cassell.
Yes.
And you could see Cassell was digging in somebody's rear end. I don't know who it was, but he was yelling at somebody. And to me, like I said, I've wanted Cassell as our coach. I feel like
I think everybody kind of thought he's the heir apparent at one point.
Right. And I you know what, Mike, because I did see Doc yell at Maxey this week, getting his ear and all that stuff. Here goes Joe Sullivan real fast. He goes, the hard schedule will have us ready already.
You know what? And I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because you know what? The last couple of years, we've had a pancake schedule going into the playoffs.
Yeah.
And it hasn't served us well.
Right.
Well, here's the thing: this is where Doc becomes super important.
Yeah.
He balanced it out where you're not going to wear out a Joel Embiid, James Harden, load management, whatever terminology you want to use for it. During this stretch, can they continue to win? Can they continue to play at this high level and bring it into the playoffs? That's a good thing. But at the same time, can they keep it from wearing these guys down? That do they make it to the playoffs?
And where they go. That's why I think it's crucial that the bench was upgraded, and I feel like they can go moving forward. I know I had my take all year long about trading Embiid.
12 games left, by the way. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. I mean, but it's not that, like I said, if they only get to the second round again and they get bounced again,
questions are going to be wondering.
This is why I said what I said. Right. But it's not that I'm not rooting for the guys. I mean, I want to see them. I want to see them get there. And I think right now, like I said, I've been saying Eastern Conference Finals, I think, is where they can get to. And if they do get there, I consider this a successful season.
Yes.
I do, because they've gotten further than where they've been.
Right.
And can I point another thing out? Another thing, they're going into it, winning 7 games in a row. Don't want to use the term schedule loss, but that could have been easily set up that way. Last night's win was big in many ways. Look at the standings now. We are now in second place. We're tied, but we have We have a better winning percentage, so it's like a point percentage difference. But we are in second place.
Boston's been hitting a skid,
and they lost one, and
I'll
also
tell you
the Bucks lost one, so we're only 2 games out of first.
Right.
So that's going to make this a little important because, like I told you, if you go into the playoffs looking now, the difference between playing a team such as, the Hawks or the Bulls or something, or you're playing the Cavs or the Knicks, can make a difference.
Well, here's another thing too. if the Sixers keep this pace up, all right, and Milwaukee does slide back, and they grab the number one. Now stop and think about that for a second. Now the Eastern Conference goes to Philadelphia.
That's another important.
And that's very important because now no matter what series the Sixers are in, they get that Game 7 at home.
Well, and not just that, but like I said, this month alone, them playing on the road a lot actually helps them out too because they're showing you they could play anywhere. And you know what I mean? So,
but you always want,
you want to come home.
Yeah, you want Game 7 home. But just, I mean, it's if you're really looking at it right now, they are definitely in the Sixers have it in their sights, man. They really do because Milwaukee.
They have the taste.
Yeah, they have the taste
in their mouth. And you know what? Maybe the Eagles and the Phillies on their runs, they got forgotten about.
Maybe Frank Finnegan might be right.
Yeah, who knows? Thanks, Dave, for checking in. He says Sixers are second in the conference because the Celtics and Utah lost last night. All right.
They lost back-to-back nights. The Celtics. They lost the last two. They lost in Cleveland Friday.
They said it's on one. They're only on a losing one game streak, so they must have a win in between.
I could have sworn that because I saw the highlights of.
I'll tell you right now.
They
lost to the Jazz last night. They beat the Trailblazers.
Oh, they beat the Trailblazers. All right, so it was.
They beat. Wait a minute. Who did you say they lost?
Cavs.
They haven't played the Cavs in a while.
All right. Well, then maybe it was the Trailblazers then.
Last time they lost to the Cavs on March 6th.
No, who was it that they just lost to somebody like literally?
But here you go. They beat the Cavs. They got lost to the Cavs on the 6th. They beat the Trailblazers the next day. They beat the Hawks the day after that. They lost to the Rockets, I think is what you're thinking of. They lost to the Rockets on Monday, the 13th.
No, this was just like Thursday night or Friday. Thursday or Friday.
The last loss they had was the Rockets.
All right, well then they had to have won. The way they won, whatever game it was either Thursday or Friday. It was a close nip game.
It must have been the Timberwolves. That would have been Wednesday. There was a 104-102 game. They won.
So somebody missed a shot or something.
It must have been that game because they beat the Trailblazers 126-112, and then they lost the Jazz last night.
All right, yeah, then it must have been that game Wednesday then because I remember seeing the highlights from it, and I was like, oh my god! I was like, did they really just lose that game? And I was like, whew. But yeah, they're fading, man. They're starting to.
They're fading, and the Sixers are getting red hot at the right time.
Like that's the only team in the Eastern Conference, that I was worried about with the Sixers is the Celtics, and I'll throw another team in there too because they've been red hot as well. Has been the Knicks. The Knicks are white hot. They've been playing good ball, so they would be the only two teams really that I'm really worried about the Sixers going head to head with. You know what I mean? Like the Knicks, I just looked here. Let me take a look real quick. Yeah, in New York, they've been 7-3 in their last 10. You know what I mean? And if you take a look at it, you look at our division right now. Toronto, Brooklyn, and Boston are all 5-5 in their last 10. Yeah. The Sixers are 9-1 in their last 10.
Right.
They got the best record in the conference right now.
Well, again, they're playing red hot basketball right now.
Since the break, they're the hottest team since the All-Star break.
Them and yeah, it's the two hottest teams are them and the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going to sleep on the Knicks, dude. Like I know a lot of people like to, we kind of have fun poking fun with the Knicks, but I'll tell you what, they're going to be a tough out. And I'll tell you, if this stays the same right now as you're looking at it, this 4 versus 5, that Cleveland versus New York series would be.
Well, they got Jalen Brunson and Julius.
That's a coin flip.
That's a coin flip, but it's going to be
they got
a real good.
Jalen, of course, the Villanova product, Jalen Brunson. He's playing really, really hot for them right now, and with Julius Randle, again, another good pair for them. That's a nice little duo they got up there.
Yeah.
And
real quick, you know what else is a good winning team?
Oh,
CherryInjuryLaw.com. That's a good winning team. David R. Cherry. He wins for you. He fights for your justice. Workers' comp, motor vehicle, personal injury, criminal law, you name it. He's got it. He will take care of you. You can go to CherryInjuryLaw.com or simply call him at 610-565-0300. Tell Dave that the PM and the AM show and EOP sent you, of course. And, we're all talking about winning teams. We have an all-star lineup here. Don't forget Sherry's Ticket Town. Go to Sherry'sTickets.com. Family owned and operated since 1946. That's sports, concerts, theaters. You go on there, you pick out the tickets you want, and that's it. That's the price you're going to pay. You're not going to get bamboozled. You're not going to get walloped at the end. You're going to win from the get, and then you're going to win even more with EOP10 promo code. That's right. EOP10 saves you 10% off that amazing price you see on the screen to begin with. And to continue walking right down that line of that awesome winning team we have, PhillySportsTrips.com. Here's some of the games that are out. You still can sign up for the Bronx trip to go Phillies take on the Yankees. You want to go out to the draft? That's available. Union and Phillies trip out to Denver, and London leads for the Union, and so much more. I know the Union have a game coming up at Citi Field, so a simple bus trip under $200.
Can't beat it.
Let that sink in.
Under $200, and it comes with a tailgate too, right?
It comes with the bus trip. It comes with the food, the booze, the party.
Dude, that alone is worth it.
I mean, you can spend that going to any game. So locally, not even So yeah, go there, and if you're gonna stay local and just watch from your favorite watering hole, make Dolan's Bar your favorite watering hole. 24 East Sellers Avenue, right in Ridley Park. Quizzo music, great time. They just had an awesome St. Patty's Day celebration.
I wouldn't know, didn't make it.
Yeah, unfortunately, but they had an awesome celebration. Go to dolansbar.com and tell PJ that EOP sent you.
And listen, real fast, you know what I got to say about the Philly sports trips thing going on? Like you said, you mentioned all the great trips, and especially the Union trip up to Citi Field. Think about that. It's like a sore pecker. You just can't beat it.
Dude,
what's up?
I know we're like a half hour in, but like I haven't really been sipping my coffee. The coffee will still in effect here. Oh, Jesus.
But anyways, man. So look, this Sixers team is, just like I said, playing out this world. Mike, again, from two past games, who's really stood out to you other than Embiid right now? Who
Tyrese Maxey. He just elevates his play, and Tobias Harris. This is his time of year, man. Like, again, maybe there's some trade rumors that are swirling with him, maybe in the off season or something, but it's just, I definitely think that them two, their games, if they've really picked up their games, and when Harden gets back, when PJ Tucker gets back, I think they're just going to be that much better. They're going to be that much. Like I said, stop and think about it. They're 9 points away from dropping 150.
And Mike, I want to allude to what you just said about Tobias Harris. Again, 18 points on Friday, 24 points last night. I think, like you said, he is the secret weapon to this whole team. Again, when one of the three major stars of the team needs to take a break, he steps up big time. He comes through. He's been playing lights out. I know his perimeter game ain't all that. It's very inconsistent. But however, he has a mid-range game, and like Al said, just just shoot the ball. Just grab and shoot. Just grab and shoot. It's just he's been playing lights out right now. What's your take with that?
I mean, Maxey to me is just been. I don't know. Does it look like he's evolving right before our eyes?
I feel like we say that all the time.
Yeah,
he gets better.
He gets better.
He doesn't have the diva attitude. He doesn't go. You think one of two things can happen with guys like him, hanging around an Embiid and Harden and some big names. He can develop their big name, attitude, and maybe think his, certain things don't stink, right. Or he can learn and absorb like a sponge. I mean, I watched him get his face chewed out a little bit by Doc the other night, and he sat there, he took it
on the chin,
and because he knew he was wrong.
Right, and so here goes our man Steve. He goes, the New York Knicks is our worst nightmare, but Cavs versus Knicks is each other's worst nightmare. Look, and they're going
to beat themselves up, but that's going to be a great series.
They're two up-and-coming young teams. Again, you guys mentioned about Maxey, and like you said, he took it on the chin, but he's been playing. Like you said, he just next play. He's that kind of guy. He's that kind of guy. He just keeps on grinding. But anyways, look.
Real quick, looking at this Eastern Conference, right? We have the 10 teams that are like right now ready to play, right? Let me.
I mean, Muffler Mike, what's up, Double M? Good morning, gents. I see Pat is waiting until the evening show. Yeah, man. Mitch Joe's. Listen, we're going to talk about that later, my man, on your program.
Looking at this Eastern Conference. Good morning, Mike. By the way, out of these 4 teams: Miami, Atlanta, Toronto, Chicago. Do you think any of them fall out of this top 10? And I would say I'm going to put 3 teams. I'm going to say Washington, Indiana, and Orlando. Because right now, Orlando is only 4 games back of Chicago.
For the play-in tournament,
I don't think Miami would slip, but I mean, if you're looking,
I don't see Miami slipping.
I mean, Atlanta, Toronto both got 35 wins. You know, they're 6 up. Chicago's only 4 up on Orlando. But I mean, you have right behind Chicago are Washington and Indiana, both with 32 wins.
Right.
So, do you see any movement there?
Not really.
No. So you think it's going to stay as?
I think it's going to just stay as it is.
I like the Wizards, man. I think the Wizards are going to knock. I think the Wizards are going to knock the Bulls out. I do. I think the Wizards are going to move up.
You said the Wizards are going to knock the Bulls off the Queen?
Yeah, I think so. I think the Bulls can get in. I'll tell you what, Indiana can get in too. Like I said, Indiana's right there too. And I'm not sold on Toronto.
I see the Wizards could possibly. They still got some nice pieces.
Right there. Yeah, still got some nice pieces. But all right, I guess we're time to move on.
Yeah, let's talk about.
Why don't you tell us a little bit? Because I'm gonna have Gary calling in a second. Why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience down?
Oh, dude.
You wait till you see EOP food bill. This guy.
Not just the food bill, Mike. Let me tell you something, dude.
You were throwing hot dogs, man. Boy.
No, not just the weed, because it was like they brought their dogs in. Yeah. It was great.
I bet.
So
you know, with no hands, were you?
Oh, hey, listen, I was catching exactly right. Yeah, you thought I was. You thought I was Lassie. You thought I was Lassie with my mouth.
Oh man, they were like, "Oh, we got a pro here."
This guy catch all sorts of wieners, but you know, like I said, it was an experience, man. I want to thank the EOP family, Al, and you know the Rusty and my man Double G when he comes on. I mean, these guys really vouched for me, and I mean, it was an experience like no other. You got to go down there and park behind the players, and you got to like I say, get to see stuff from the media side of life. That you question as fans, and you want to ask questions to the head coaches on stuff. Now you get to see stuff through their eyes. It was great. I got to run into my man Mark Farzetta. When I was in there in the hallway, Mike, it took me back to my wrestling days. Smelly duffel bags. I love the smell of sweaty men. I mean, not in that way, but no, but I miss the set of the stench, guys. The work.
Did you bring your?
He missed the musk of men or something. I don't know where he's going with it.
No, but you guys said I haven't smelled it in a long time. That was that locker room scent.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Next time you go, you're going to bring your hot stuff with you and rub it on you before you.
Hot stuff and squirt it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, speaking of hot stuff, we got Mr. Goob on the phone. Gary, what's going on, bud? Gary, you there?
Gatois?
Gary.
His alarm's not set yet.
Somebody called. Let me see.
Let me go back until we get him online.
Let me ask you a question. How was it watching the game wise? Like,
oh, dude, it was like I said, an awesome experience. You go to the press box, you're covering it. I'm writing about it. You get to see like I said, another perspective on how the game is played and understand how lacrosse is. And again, it's the combination of hockey and football mixed together. You got a quarterback out there. You got guys making some, turnovers, offensive zones, defensive zones, trying to come scheme out plays. You got to see all that stuff.
I think let me see. Gary, you there, bud? Gary?
Gary, you have your pants on?
Hold on.
He might still put on his underwear. But anyway, like I said.
Yeah, I mean, I personally, I got to watch lacrosse a little bit back in the 90s when I was like, late teens, early 20s, kind of got into it, I remember watching the Wings here, and, we hated Buffalo, played Buffalo a lot. Rochester, didn't like those guys either. But I'll tell you what, like, I haven't personally been to a game in years.
Hey, Gary, you there, bud?
I am.
All right, sorry, bud. It must have been an audio issue, but I got you fixed. What's going on, bud?
Hey, how's it going, Al? Good to hear you.
Good to hear you.
Gary, what's going on, my man?
What's going on, boys? It's good to be here early in the morning.
Yes. We know you come on later in the night at 9 p.m. We're going to be doing all lacrosse all the time. Listen, our Philadelphia Wings coming off a tough loss last night. It was a great job. I want to say thanks to you, and again, thanks to Al for allowing me, to gain some knowledge of the game. And it was a I was very blessed for the opportunity, and got to zone in on players and really get to know the Georgia Swarm, and I got to know the Philadelphia Wings from watching the whole aspect of things, the X's and O's, if you will. And what I saw last night was a matchup between Mitch Jones. If you want to go quarterback play for football terms, it was Mitch Jones versus Lyle Thomas. And man, it just when everything was looking, it was back and forth nonstop. Again, Mitch Jones sending up, Blaze Roden and Joe Patisse, sending those guys up. Lyle Thomas was on the other side making plays for the Georgia Swarm. And however, you would think this was going to be a rollover for the Wings because of just based off the standings, and it wasn't. It was actually a tough burn because when that third quarter came around, it wasn't so. As you alluded to in your show, they've had major issues, falling apart, and they take the foot off the gas pedal, and it becoming an issue. What's your take on all this?
They have a lot of problems with readjustments at the half. When teams do their adjustments at halftime, the Wings tend to keep going with the same game plan, and that tends to bite them in the butt.
Yes,
it happened again yesterday. They were sailing. In fact, the way I saw it, each quarter they got a little bit less. They looked great off the hop, lots of energy. They jumped out to a really nice lead, with Russell Terrace and all the energy that was coming out of them between Reardon, Jones, Russell Terrace, even with Kyle Matisse, their captain in transition. But as it went along, by halftime, they're still up 6-4, but Georgia's starting to make a little bit of a play. And they're their own worst enemy when they start taking penalties. When you have a guy like Lyle Thompson on the other side of the ball, and you're going to take penalties, you almost put the goal up already.
Yeah, he'll make it.
He is one of the best players in the world for a reason. And he can do just the most amazing things at the times when you don't think anything is possible. Lyle can find a way to do it. His brother Miles, who's hurt this year, when the two of them are together, it's magic. So, there's four of them all together, actually. You got Jeremy, and you also have Diana, who's playing for Albany. But, when you get them all together, man, what a sight to see.
Yeah. And you alluded to this earlier about the Georgia Swarm, just swarming on that offensive zone. And like you said, a lot of times, not the guy you want to exactly sleep on. And like you said, if you go into that penalty box, he'll make you pay for it. He's going to make you pay the piper. And, I had the opportunity to talk to Paul Day and interview him. And I asked him, like, well, because it looked like a bunch of miscues on defense. So, I mean, guys just not – it looked like it was like man-to-man coverage. And then one guy went to drop back, whatever. But then again, you leave, addition by subtraction and guys getting goals. I asked him, like, what's going to be the big adjustment for today? Because you go from playing Georgia Swarm, who's behind you in the standings, now you're playing against the New York Rochester Nighthawks, and they're actually a team you don't want to sleep on. So what's going to be the major adjustments? And he kind of alluded to, like, they're going to work on that as well. So what do you think they're going to have to do today to stop a team like Rochester?
Well, the big thing is they need more than a one-dimensional offense. They rely so much on Blaze Reardon, who had 4 goals in yesterday's game, Joe Russell-Terrace. But you need guys like Ben McIntosh. You need Mitch Jones to be more than a setup guy. You need Tate Catoni. You need Trevor Baptiste. You need everybody to be part of that offense. If you're only keying on 1 or 2 guys, they're going to double-team them, and really, they're going to suffocate the offense right out of you. For a team like Rochester, which is so three-dimensionally sound, this year with Thomas Hogarth, Ryan Smith, Connor Fields, Holden Catoni, Tate's brother, Turner Evans, Austin Hazen, Curtis Knight, they can throw wave after wave of offense at you. So the defense is going to have to be alert. A transition game is going to have to be in place. They're going to need to do a little bit more with Kyle Matisse to try and get a little bit more disheveled on Rochester's part. Maybe get them to jump a little early, take a couple of penalties. And when you're going against a goalie like they're going to face today in Ryland Hartley, who as a junior won a Minto Cup, he's been lights out since he's come into the league. You need to get into his head. You're not going to beat him one-on-one. He's just an absolute reflex goalie. So even when you think you have him beat, he always seems to find a leg or an arm or a shoulder or a finger or something to get in the way. So you need to get into his head early, which means crashing the crease, means getting up early into his grill, and all kinds of little things just to, get him a little bit unsettled. It has to be a game where they get into the muck and mire. It's not going to be pretty if they want to win.
Oh, absolutely. Because like you just touched on, you got Connor Fields, who's, I believe, second in the league in goals. And you got this Ryan Hartley, who's fourth in goals. But like you said, you have to get him early because he does let up a lot of goals also. So the Wings have to do what they did yesterday. And again, the problem is they can't let their foot off the gas pedal. And like you said, more guys have to get involved. If you're going to beat a team like the Rochester Nighthawks, you're going to have to get guys more than, like you said, Blaze and Joe Rustis, and you got to get more guys involved. You got to get Ben McIntosh more involved. You have to get, like you said, the whole lineup involved if you're going to put away a team like this, and you're fighting for playoff lives. So you're outside looking in, and now you have to do everything you can today to come out with a W.
Yeah, even more so because Halifax beat Toronto last night, 14-12. So Halifax, the same way Philadelphia snuck into fourth with 2 wins on the weekend, last weekend and weekend before. This weekend, Halifax can sneak in with Philadelphia taking 2 losses. So it's a must-win game for the Wings if they want to stay in that fourth playoff spot.
No, absolutely. Again, and then like you say, you look at that Rochester roster, and they got guys who could score. You got Ryan Smith, Holman Catali. You have Connor Fields, like I said, second in the league in goals with 38 goals himself. Again, you got guys up there who can snipe away. So you're going to have to play tight defense. And because I noticed that late yesterday in the fourth quarter, they were keeping guys on the perimeter, guard them outside the box, and you have to really do that. You can't force anybody. You have to play tight man-to-man coverages. You can't let anyone inside the paint to chip away at our goaltender over here.
Right. Now, you also got to remember, Rochester can play both styles of games. They were in that shootout with Georgia last week where they wound up winning 19-18. But the week previous against Toronto, it was a 10-9 game. So, they can play a defensively sound game too. Philadelphia is going to have to come aggressive. Now, of course, Rochester has a guy like Tyler Biles who will drop him if he has to. But, the Wings have got their tough guys as well. They're going to have to, like I said earlier, get down and dirty. They're going to have to get inside. They can't settle for outside shots. They're going to have to get into Hartley's grill to get him a little bit unsettled in his crease. If it means, early on taking maybe a goalie interference penalty, then so be it. But just to get him unsettled in the crease a little bit, I think will help in the long run towards longer shots and, getting more guys involved. The McIntoshes, the Reardons, the Jones, and a few other guys in there as well. Tony, it'd really be helpful if he got involved as well.
Oh, absolutely. Like I said, and for a team, like I said, just now outside looking in, you have to put this team away today. It's a tough task as it is because you're just coming off a game yesterday. A couple guys are going to be fatigued. Like I said, I was in the hallway seeing guys getting bandaged up and all that stuff. So, and this Rochester team is going to be fresh. They are. So, like I said, a tough task for the Wings at hand. Again, you're going to face a 9-3 Rochester team. You're going to have to do everything that you can to put this team away today.
I got another interesting stat for you. Paul Day is, the GM coach of Philadelphia, but he's also the GM of the Peterborough Lakers of the MSL in the Summer League, who have won 4 consecutive Man Cups. Now, with these 2 teams, first of all, Mike Hazen, the coach of Rochester, is his coach in Peterborough. Mm-hmm. You have 7 Peterborough Lakers on the Philadelphia Wings, and you have 9 Peterborough Lakers on the Rochester Nighthawks. So this is a Peterborough home game is what it is.
Hey,
Mike.
Mike, I just wanted to ask you. This is not lacrosse related. I know you're a big Jays fan. I just got to ask you, do they catch the evil empire this year in the AL East? Do they finally supplant the Yanks up there?
I have been so impressed with what they've done in the front office to try and rectify whatever went wrong last year, especially the debacle in the playoffs, to try and get more assured gloves, more assured bats from the left side, and more arms coming out of the bullpen. So if there is a year to do it, this would be the year to do it.
Okay.
So I'm pretty hopeful.
Yeah.
I got a number of seats for the new and improved Rogers Center / Skydome. So I can't wait to go and see what they've done there. They've put in millions of dollars in renovations. They've done a lot in there in the idea of, from what I can remember, what you've done with the Citizens Bank Park, and have a whole lot of concourse and different places to go and see for instead of having that generic hot dog.
Right. Okay.
It should be a better experience for the
Oh, you
fans
should have
too.
never said hot dog. You got Pat over here trolling. But no, I wanted to ask you that because I know you guys loved. I know you go to a lot of Jays games, and I know the Phillies play up there this year. So maybe that might be, if it's a weekend, I would love to probably do a road trip.
I'd take a road trip up there.
Right. I've never been to Toronto.
Dust off the passport. I can do that.
Exactly. I've never been to Toronto. I've been to Ottawa. I've been to Montreal, but I've never been to Toronto. So that's definitely a bucket list of mine. I definitely got to get up there for the Hockey Hall of Fame as well.
Oh, you'd love it. You'd love it. There's lots to do, lots to see. Big city, man.
It would be fair anyway, because last time he came here, last summer, him and his wife took the joint down here, and I got to hang out with them for a little bit. That was fun.
Well, yeah, I mean, we definitely
had a great game too, Al.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean,
that was a great Phillies game.
I just wanted to ask you that because, like I said, I know you follow the Jays, and I kind of took the Jays as my sleeper team this year.
Sorry to break your guys' heart. Phillies at Toronto, August 15th and 16th. It's a Tuesday and a Wednesday.
Oh,
man.
I can call it.
Yeah, same.
I'm feeling a little under weather already for that date.
Yeah, I'm getting
I have a little Canadian flu. I gotta get up there.
Yeah.
I need a little Canadian butt shot, but yeah, I'll be up there.
Oh Jesus!
What's the matter?
Gary, this is what you guys.
I'll take you to a place where they have about 150 of their own brewed beers too. So it's worth the trip.
Oh,
I'm in, bro.
Yeah, it sounds like a really, really nice place. You have to find places that they have where hot dogs get shot out of a cannon for Pat, so he can feel at home.
At point blank.
At point blank range, of course.
I'll get right on that. I'll start looking around for places like that.
There you go.
Hey, well, listen, we got a spot down here called the Blue Oyster, but that's for another time. But listen, Gary, back to this. Game at hand again, 3 p.m. Of course, me being the gobbler, I always usually ask Mike this question: what is like a meal for Gary at home for like a 3 p.m. dinner? I would say for this kind of matchup.
Well, we got to keep our energy up. Got to have pasta. Got to get our carbs in there. A little bit of protein, maybe throw a little bit of the chicken carbonara in there as well. And of course, we got to have our cooled ones waiting in the fridge because come the opening face-off is the sound that you hear in this household.
That's it. I like it. I like that. That's how it's always like mine. You know what I mean? Just quiet. Especially when I try and watch the TV, trying to tell the kids go play in your room, wife. Do what you got to do. But anyway,
your wife to go play in the room too.
Yeah. Well, your toys.
Figure out their own things.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm lucky enough that the kids are old enough they can figure out their own things to do. That's working.
Actually, I've learned because I have a 20. Actually, my daughter's birthday today. She just turned 22.
Oh,
so happy birthday, Lex!
Happy birthday!
And my son will be 21 at the end of August, and I got the younger one. So I have this I've learned that I don't know if I fear now the older ones getting in trouble more than I do the younger ones. It's a whole different ballgame.
So, but Gary, like I said, going back to yesterday's game, like again, you lose at the Wings. You lose at home. Now, like I said, on the outside looking in. Do you feel like there's a win going to happen today? Do you feel like there's going to be another loss? And what's Gary's take on all this?
I hate to say it, but I'm skeptical about today's game for a couple of reasons. One, the tired factor. Now, they're professional athletes and they can get it up for a second game. Don't worry. But you're talking about a game that they were heavily banged up. So, of course, they're going to be a little bit slower out of the gate. They need to use Trevor Baptiste as the best face-off guy in the game. And he needs to get possessions, and they need to do something with those possessions. So if they can, make a nice switch between offense and defense and not have anyone on too long, they'll be able to probably preserve their legs for this game. The other thing is, again, Rochester is a very deep team, and the Blue Cross Arena, when it is full of people with a low ceiling and seats about 10,000, is a very loud place.
Yeah.
And with the resurgence of the team came the resurgence of the fan base. And they get a pretty good crowd in there now. So it gets very, very loud in there. So the Wings are going to have their preset plays, because if they're going to plan on trying to call audibles, no one's going to hear what anybody's doing. So they're going to have their eyes open. They're going to have their minds to what they want to do and how they're going to achieve it beforehand. And then get a little creative if things go sideways. But as a whole, they're going to have a steady game plan and adjustments at the half. They're going to have to, if they're up, they're going to have to try and figure out what Mike Hazen and the Rochester team are going to do. If they're down, they're going to have to find different ways and get creative to try and get around the noise factor and the Rochester depth factor.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, again, they're going to have to try to come up with some big plays, like you were just mentioning, on defense to stop a team like this, Rochester Nighthawk team, because they're rocking and rolling right now. And like I said, the second best player in the league he's going to make you pay dividends if you don't, take care of him, defensively. And again, I feel like, Rochester, all they're going to have to do is try and shut down Mitch Jones and, like you said, Blaze and Joe. Shut those guys down, because after that, it seems like the Wings have nothing else to throw at you.
Right, and that's unfortunate because they have some pretty good players, but they haven't been taking the forefront. So it's time for some of the secondary players to step up. And I'd love it when we talk about the game tonight that we're talking about, wow, I never expected to hear from. Wow, I never expected to see this much from. That would be, part and parcel with saying the Wings have upset the Rochester Nighthawks because.
Right.
That's going to be the game plan. If they can do that, they can get that W. But if they're going to stick with, just the same thing and outside shooting and occasional coming into the crease, we're going to be talking about how it could have, how it would have, how they needed, how they didn't. So it rests in their hands on how they want to play it. But they have to be cerebral about this. They can't just be rolling a China shop and go through, because that's what Rochester's waiting for.
Absolutely. So look,
a little more cerebral.
Yeah, absolutely. So look, Gary, I want to thank you for taking the time to join us today. Again, guys, tonight 9 p.m. all across, all the time. You guys want to react to the Wings again, fighting for their playoff lives, and not just the Wings, all across. If you guys are listening to the podcast or watching on all social media platforms, go check those guys out tonight. It's going to be a great show. I'm locked in every Sunday night at 9 p.m. Check those guys out for all across all the time. Gary, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, guys, thanks for joining us, man. Come on anytime.
Oh, my pleasure, guys. It's absolutely my pleasure. I love listening to your show in the mornings.
Oh, thank you.
Gary, take it easy, bud.
So, thanks, Gary. I got a problem with you.
Uh-oh.
We got a guy who wants to talk lacrosse, and you're going to ask him baseball questions. What the hell's wrong with you?
Gary loves baseball.
Listen,
that's fine.
And listen,
Yeah.
and I'm getting a perspective from a Toronto Jays fan talking about another division. I know he likes that. And to be honest with you, you were on such a roll talking about the Wings. I didn't want to interrupt your wing talk, but I did have to ask him that question. I was going to wait till after you were done.
So,
I thought you were
by
finished.
the way, I did get an email from the Wings yesterday after Pat left.
Mm-hmm.
He was upset there wasn't buffalo sauce involved. He really thought when he heard Philadelphia Wings, he
Yes.
a cup of blue cheese and some celery to go
Yes.
along with it.
Wow.
Yes.
So,
Wait, way to drive my shaft into the carpet. But anyway.
Well, listen, you got it back. You got your mojo back. You looped it up. He was fine. So you're good. I mean, I had to ask him. I mean, he's a Jays fan, and he did come down here last summer. I wanted to ask his opinion of that. I did not see the Wings game yesterday,
I-
so so it's hard for me
Yes.
to ask him questions about the
Well,
Wings
you
when I
know what?
didn't see it.
Well, like I said, it was.
I'm not going to leave it.
That's good. Thank you, Mike. Well, listen. Again, they allowed dogs in the house yesterday. Again, bring your dogs. It was, like I said, great time. I didn't know there was a team called the Red Rockets because apparently that's where I was at. Playing with those guys. So anyway,
Playing with something. Let's come back to the
Buffalo Mike said Matt Rainbow could be back today.
That was
as well.
I was actually thinking about answering that question, but Mike already put it out there, so that's good. Let's see, we got let's see, stop through Hamilton to catch the Tide Cats game. Look at him. Steven's all over the place, man. He knows there's not much. I think if he tells us a sport, he'll watch it.
that's not the kind of guy I like.
Can of Turf Monster for Gary.
Yeah.
Gary, let's see.
Chopper may have the suit up. It'd be interesting. I can't. He's saying he can't see the Wings winning this game unless it's an upset. That's what Gary said. It will be in an upset fashion.
Yeah, and trust me, they're going to, like I said, they need to throw everything but the kitchen sink tonight. Well, now including the kitchen sink for them to win this game. But
can we touch a little Phillies?
Well, no, we'll touch a little Phillies, but I do got to touch the other winner team. I do.
Hold on, so you're just gonna bypass the Phillies to touch on the winner
Mike,
team.
I love touching everything.
I know, but I mean, come on.
This we know. this we're aware
Listen,
of.
we're well aware of that. Yeah, let's get into this Flyers real quick.
Yeah, because you know what, Mike?
And make it real quick before you put everybody else to sleep.
Yeah, well, no, because
you don't want them clicking off, dude. Like,
hey, listen, there's nothing wrong with clicking on and clicking off, but listen, Mike, the Flyers team actually made some improvements these past 2 days. Again, just make improvements for next year. Owen Tippet is starting to look like a guy who's going to stand out for you.
Owen Tippet, Noah Cates, Farabee, Morgan Frost, Forrester.
By the way, he was like they
a hat trick for Owen Tippet.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Chuck Fletcher.
Or yes,
he brought him up. I think that was like his last ditch effort. Like bring Scott, if he does really good, maybe it'll save my job. Yeah. That didn't work.
He does good after he leaves.
I'll tell you what, Brendan Lemieux,
yes,
a steady pickup for them. I'll tell you what, we don't like the Lemieux name here, especially his daddy. His daddy torched us forever, but I'll tell you what, the kid can play. And what's the whole common denominator, Pat? They're all young guys.
Yes,
they're all young guys.
And
what have I been saying? These are the kids that were housed up in Lehigh Valley that couldn't get up here because of guys like JVR, Kevin Hayes, Couturier, as much as I like Coots,
it's time to show off the young guns.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to do the right mix in there, I would keep I would definitely keep connecting with these guys. I think if you keep connecting with these guys, it'd be a good building block. But everybody else, dude, kick rocks.
Yes, Mike, I 100% agree with you. Guys like Noah Cates, like you said, Brandon Lemieux.
Noah Cates. You see the cycling he did yesterday?
Dude,
I caught about maybe half of the game of the fight. I missed the first period.
Mm-hmm.
But I caught about, when I was out to dinner with the wife, we kind of saw a little bit of the game. And, dude, he was running circles around that vaunted Carolina defense yesterday.
Again, a team who's a Stanley Cup contender, mind you.
Listen, the Flyers were 0.3 of a second away from winning that game.
Wow.
Yes. And again, the overtime woes hurts the team. But however, like you said, Mike, Tyson Foster getting his first ever NHL goal.
A little breaking news. It's not Flyers related, but it's breaking news. It affects us in some way. So Adam Schefter just tweeted out about 8 minutes ago. There's a trade. Houston receives a 5th-round pick in 2023 and a 6th-round pick in 2024 from the Dallas Cowboys for Brandon Cooks.
So they're not going after DeAndre Hopkins.
I guess not. So Brandon Cooks
is on his way to Dallas.
Just a heads up.
Okay.
Oh boy. So yeah, but back to the Flyers, Mike. Again, Joe Farabee, Noah Cates, Brandon Lemieux, Tyson Foster, all making goals yesterday, creative goals too.
Did you see? I'm sorry, I know it went against us, but did you see that Aho go in overtime? That was a beauty. That was a beauty. Like, and this kid has been. I remember when he came up with Kings, Aho, and I kept saying, I said it then. I said, "That dude's a player, man." And
he is a player, and he got himself a hat trick too yesterday. Again, just making nice plays. Again, it's a weird combination of him and Shane Gostisbehere. Getting creative in the offensive zone, just making some dominant plays. But like I said, I know, like I said, the Flyers ain't everyone's favorite team now. But like I said, it's all about for next year. Again, just evaluating talent. Again, the young guns coming up, like you mentioned earlier in the show. Nolan Cates, Joel Farabee, Brandon Lemieux, uh, Tyson Falser. You got some key pieces.
Yeah,
Owen Tippet.
Owen Tippet. You got now you're looking at on the defensive side. You got Cam York. Sanheim. You got guys like that over there to anchor the defense. I think if they get rid of Provorov in the offseason, I believe they can make some changes in there. And you got to remember too, they're going to be out of cap hell next year. The cap goes up next year for hockey, which I didn't realize. It does. It goes up next year, and the Flyers are going to have a little bit of money to spend. So they got to bring the right pieces in.
And right pieces. So and like I said, 9 goals between yesterday and today. That was the most they got in the whole February.
Right, and they beat Buffalo too. Like Buffalo's not a slouch team.
No, they were on the cusp for a playoff run.
Yeah, they're on
the hunt too. But the Flyers doing some things. So like I said, this team is not looking bad under their new regime of Danny Briere. Danny Briere, like you said, bringing in the young guns, and hopefully if they groom him for the permanent job and him using these young guns, you don't know.
Well, this is what I said to you. I said you need to give him a chance. I mean, you put it down. Oh well, if they play for the Flyers and they're back in the front office, we got to get rid of them. You got to give these guys a chance. Like Danny Briere went somewhere else to cut his teeth. You know what I mean? He was a part of the front office that brought in guys like Nick Suzuki and all these guys that were decent players for the Montreal Canadiens. He was a part of that. You got to give them the chance to cut their teeth. Just because they once donned the Flyers jersey doesn't mean, that they should be exiled from trying to redo that, especially when they leave and go somewhere else. Now, I don't know if you guys have heard the reports, but David Boreanaz, the actor.
Oh, I've seen that.
Dave Roberts' son from, he played, what was it? How was the name of the show? Angel, yeah. He played in that show.
Bones. He was in Bones. Was a big show for him. He's trying to get a group together to buy the Flyers.
Okay.
And it's a pretty predominant group too, from what I see.
And there's some ex-players in that, right?
Yeah. I believe one is Roddy. No, was it okay? Yeah, look it up, Al, because that's our producer for us. He'll get it.
Yes.
But I know I saw it the other day that they want to buy this group from Comcast because they're tired of the status quo. They feel like the fans here have been
thirst for quite some time for a championship. It's been like since the dinosaurs were walking around here, and that's good. Like I said, and like I said,
you can't get me. I mean, if you look at it, look at the last 2 times they went against a cup. They were in a cup.
Right.
I mean,
that was a regime of itself.
Right.
So the picture was on Instagram. He posted David Boreanaz on I am the Boreanaz. It was picture of him with Sixers co-owner David Edelman. And, of course, former Flyer Kimmo Timonen and Peter Forsberg.
That's who it was. I knew it was.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're looking to.
That's good company.
Yeah, they're looking to put a group together to buy the Flyers. Like, they want to get it out from Comcast. And
that's good.
I hope Comcast listens to their offer, and I hope they really kind of take them up on it. Because if you're taking a look at what, I don't think this whole Sixers thing is going to get done. The downtown stadium, that's not getting done. There's just no way.
Look, if anyone's going to make a deal on that, it's going to be SEPTA. But anyway,
anybody's going to make. I don't know where to go with that one.
But I mean, because I just figure, if it's going to be in the middle of Center City or downtown, they're going to make bread because everyone's going to have to take buses and all that stuff. It's just, but anyways, like I said, back to this Flyers team. Like I said, Danny Briere coming out with these young guns. We're liking it. We like what we see. Again, putting up 9 goals in the last 2 games, which is fine. Again, just losing in overtime. I like where this team is going. Again, tomorrow, Tuesday rather, they got the Florida Panthers. Florida Panthers are just sitting on the outside. How about the Penguins getting smoked yesterday by the Rangers?
They got smoked in 2 games by the Rangers. They gave up like 11 goals. Last 2 games by the Rangers. But I'll tell you, getting back to the Flyers too. Don't forget Cutter Gunther. is also in the wings too.
Oh.
Right now, he's averaging like 2.5 goals a game for BC right now in college. Like, kid's phenomenal, and
So-
he's on his way.
Right. So,
So-
again, they got some pieces in the farm system. In the farm system, they're that look.
We just got to get rid of the dead weight. You got to get rid of the Cam Atkinsons, the Ryan Ellises, and I mean, I like Cam Atkins. I would bring him back on a team friendly deal because you've already paid him. Like, you picked up his options. If he wants to come back, I would give him on a team friendly. You know what I mean? These are guys you got to look out for too.
Let me ask.
But no, look at some of these free agents that are going to be available too. Like Tarasenko's going to be a free agent. After this cup run with the Rangers. You got to take a look. Patrick Kane.
Let me ask you a question, Mike. Do you think Danny Briere has recently gotten an ear of Owen Tippet? Like, listen, I know what you got. I see what you got. Do this, do that in the third game.
Hold on. Can you give Danny Briere any credit for anything yet?
No.
I mean,
in a way, you can.
What? He's been here a week.
A week. I mean,
well, he's been here all season, but
I know. But I'm saying where he has control of anything.
Yeah, but I mean, maybe he's talked to some players.
I don't know. Owen Tippet has been playing this whole time. The only guy that has been brought up recently is Forrester, and he was brought up by Chuck Fletcher right before he left. So, I mean, I'm not being a jerk, but can I give him too much credit for anything?
Yeah, it's not like we can just trash Fletcher and give Danny Briere the praise. I mean, you got to look past that a little bit. You got to look at it as, there was a change. Yeah, Steve was just saying it right there.
I love our fans. They're crazy like us. Speaking of clicking
off,
off,
Ben Simmons is playing the banjo right now. That's great.
Oh my God!
Boy,
that's good stuff.
That's a good one. That's really good. My boy.
I know Brandon Cooks is kind of yesterday's news, but it was officially made today.
Yeah. So, but again, Mike, I mean, just again, I don't know, man. I feel like you can give credit where credit's due. And again, but then again,
what credit? What credit can you give him? Like, he didn't do nothing. All he did was just take over for Fletcher. I mean, granted, only thing I can tell you is he may have told Tortorello, "Hey, why don't we start playing some of these younger guys?" And Tortorello probably wants to do that anyway.
And you can execute the plays a little bit better.
Right.
So, again, we'll see what this team goes. But, Mike, one more before we get out of here. Let's talk about some of these free agency moves at the.
Can I just want to chime in on something
Yeah.
Did you guys not see the Grand Slam heard around the world last night?
Yeah, Trey Turner.
Trey Turner goes deep in the bottom of the eighth for Team USA.
Over
Venezuela.
And his face. I posted something on EOP. I said, I can't wait to see this face wearing white with red pinstripes. That's what
and he said,
and you got JT waiting for him at the plate.
And Schwarber. They were both there.
Schwarber, yeah.
They were both right there. And it was great. He said last night was the loudest he ever heard. Kyle Schwarber put his arm around him and said, "Wait till you get to Philly."
Yeah. He hasn't heard nothing yet.
I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, that's fine.
Didn't Altuve suffer an injury in that?
I think so.
I don't know how big of it is, but you got Edwin Diaz, who is out for the season. We tore his ACL celebrating.
Yeah, I saw that.
We talked about.
It was like it's like 10 times worse than what David Robertson did.
Oh my God, it was bad, dude. Like, and he really didn't do nothing. He was like hopping up and down a little bit.
Yeah,
and just went.
And
there's my boy Insanio. I just remembered I have my checkers tournament today. Go Bruins. Dude, your Bruins are going to the Cup. Stop worrying about it.
God. I don't want to talk about it. Keep going.
Right now, the Flyers fans are like Eddie Murphy's
Saltine skit
at this point.
They'll take in anything at this point.
Yeah.
So one more.
This free agency.
Again, sign markets mode. You get it for a deal. When you're a deal,
love it.
Yeah, same.
Love it. A lot of people were poo-pooing on that because of how he was in Atlanta last year. And I'm sorry,
he's a serviceable backup.
Well, here's the thing. Like, he got told he was running the show. They told him they were giving him the year down there. And then, like, when they kind of pulled the rug out from under him, so he got a little salty with it, which I wouldn't have blamed him. At least here now, he knows he's coming as the backup. But isn't it ironic, right? What was it, 8 years ago? We wanted to trade do the deal to trade up to get Mariota here when Chip was here, and 8 years later he signs as a backup.
Yeah, how about that?
Well, I said that I was talking to Joe. I said to him when the news came here, because it came down again late night, like last night. You had Sam Alu news come down, like always that like later at night. We're like kind of going back and forth. I said, was this Howie's last dig at Chip Kelly? Like, this is how you get Marcus Mariota in Midnight Green.
Mhm.
Like, this is how you do it. Like, I feel like that was his last dig at him. But
I think
Yeah.
it's a great signing.
I'm surprised they
Same.
spent that much on a backup quarterback. That's my only surprise. And obviously they were not thrilled with Gardner Minshew.
No,
No.
let him walk.
Gardner
No.
Minshew you got for $3.5 million. So if you got him at a $3.5 million deal, then for 1 year you could have got him
Yeah.
probably.
When you'll see the real Gardner Minshew without having an all-star, or I should say the number one offensive line in front of you.
Right.
Now he's going to be headed out to Indiana.
Right. He's going to go to Indiana where their offensive line is bad.
Poo-poo.
And here's the thing. That's another thing, too. Like, Atlanta's offensive line was trash last year. Like, Mariota was running for his life. And don't forget, he did beat the 49ers last year. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it's not like he didn't beat any scrubs. Atlanta was in that divisional race in that horrible South last year up until the last week. So, I mean, the dude kind of like did his job. I mean, I like Atlanta going forward this year to win that division. I've already picked them to win that division. I think they've gotten a lot better. But Mariota coming here, to me, it's a steal. If you're going to lose Jalen for a couple games, which, by the way he plays, you got to have a strong backup. Howie realizes that.
Yes.
Now they don't have to deviate away from their plan of running the offense. You have a guy who can come in. He's just as mobile as Jalen is. Mariota can throw the ball. He can throw the ball downfield. You know what I mean? So, I feel comfortable with them doing that. I still feel like right now, I love the signing of Greedy Williams to come in here. Now you have depth to go along because, and I believe this to be true with Avonte Maddox. He gets hurt a lot. Avante's gotten hurt over the last couple of years a lot. Greedy can step in and play. I'm liking some of the other rumors that we're hearing. If when it comes to I think Gardner Johnson's going to come back, but I think he's going to come back on another prove it deal.
I think he's not happy.
Me and Al were talking about that.
He's just not happy with the market. Like, you can see he's feeling quote unquote disrespected. So he might do it again. He goes, 1 more year. I'm not signing anything full, or maybe 2 with a second team option or something like that, just in case. But I don't think it's going to be a 4 or 5 year deal.
Who's Ed Reed? They interviewed Ed Reed about that, and Ed Reed turned around and said, "Listen," he said, "I'm not saying he's not a good safety." Talking about Gardner Johnson, he said, "But he only played safety 1 year, and that was last year." He said the rest of the time he's been a nickel corner. He was like, so the league is viewing him as a nickel corner, not as a safety. He said, the smartest thing for him to do is get as much money as he can, but go back to Philly for 2 years, play that safety role. Now, I wouldn't mind that, but you know what? I also wouldn't mind bringing back Jalen Mills also with him, because now you can put Jalen over where, Epps was playing. Now you got Mills and Johnson back there to go along with your 2 cornerbacks. Now your back end of your defense is good. And like I said, me and Al were talking, the 3 free agents I'm hearing that could get done this week is, Gardner Johnson could be done within the next couple of days. Jalen Mills to follow right behind him if he doesn't get blown away with another offer somewhere else.
And the funny part is, if you think about this, after that, that means pretty much, not that it's probably what's going to happen anyway. When it comes to the draft, the Eagles are probably going to be looking D-line and maybe even linebacker. You might even see a linebacker.
The third one, speaking of linebacker, Bobby Wagner. On a 1-year deal. Which, by the way, if you get Bobby Wagner, you upgrade putting him next to Nakobe Dean, and you take away the chance of him going to Dallas, because Dallas also wants Bobby Wagner. So,
right. So, again, and when I was listening to you guys on Wednesday night, the AM and the PM, I was listening to, they're going to keep James Bradbury and, Slay. So that was a shocker. Now you got your secondary somewhat solidified.
At least for the next 2 years.
Yeah. And then, again, you worked out deals to keep Brandon Graham. Fletcher Cox is still going to be here. Jason Kelsey ain't going to go. He's going to hang around for 1 more year.
We did lose Isaac Seumalo to the Steelers this morning. So, but that just means.
I'm still waiting to get the. It's a 3-year deal. They haven't announced the compensation yet.
So
again, like I said, a lot of moves being made through the Eagles free agency. Again, you touched on about Marcus Mariota just being a great serviceable backup, and he's a winner. He's a winner in this league, like you said. Now he's got a line in front of him, So, it's going to be a recipe for success for Marcus Mariota when case need be for him to step in.
Yes. Thank you, Eileen. Yes, we just talked about this a few minutes ago with Brandon Cooks. I mean, that's not surprising. They need the wide receiver course kind of would hurt them a little bit last year.
Well, they needed somebody opposite of Lamb. And to be honest with you, how about bring
him back for that 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, how much longer do you think they hold on to Michael Gallup too? I mean, I think, no, let's not forget Mills was a great red zone guy. Yeah, he was. That's why, and I think the Eagles can get him for cheap. I mean, if you look at it,
they cut him because they were thinking $5 million. The Pats cut him. They're just trying to make cap space. So
I mean, if
you could probably get him for about two and a half.
Yeah,
probably half that.
And I think he would come back here in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
and it's not like
especially with all the. Listen, I think anybody will come here in a heartbeat. Seeing what the Eagles were like, just like we said with the Phillies, seeing what the Philly fans are like in the playoff, seeing what Jalen Hurts brings to the table is really, I think, the biggest selling point here.
Yes. I do believe that. I do believe, really, honestly, I believe if the Eagles would have won the Super Bowl, you would have had Graham and Cox both retire. I think they would have retired.
Fair enough. I mean, one of the things they both, I mean, Cox may have taken the money.
Yeah.
He would have had.
I agree.
Had the two Super Bowl rings. Jason would have the 2 Super Bowl rings, and he'd probably been easier to make it because he said he got to run it back with Jalen one more time.
Yeah.
But again, Jalen's the key factor here. If this was Carson or Gardner or anybody else almost at this point, I don't care if it was even Aaron Rodgers was here in the Eagles green. I don't think he stays. I think Jalen was a big piece of it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I'm with you, Mike. If we would have won the Super Bowl, I think Grant, this would have been them way.
Yeah, Graham, Cox,
out in Sunset.
Right, Graham, Cox, and Kelsey would have been.
And I want to point something out because I'm actually going to putting out the EOP Eagles free agents tracker either sometime today or Monday morning. I've always been one of the biggest critics of Howie in the past. In the last few years, he's definitely has swayed my opinion on he's making the right decisions. Again, he's not getting all soft about players who've been here too long because he could have been he could give Fletcher a big amount of money. He could have done anything just to keep him around. He said, Fletcher, you want to go ahead, go, but we can keep you for this much, and that's it. He did a good job with it. But let's look at the guys we lost, okay? And I want to run through it real quick. Then we want to talk, and then we'll be done with it. But you got T.J. Edwards. He went to the Bears. Dillard to the Titans. Hargrave probably got the biggest money who left. Probably the biggest loss if you're to call it a loss.
Yeah.
He's going to the 49ers until he learns what it's like to deal with the 49ers fans. Marcus Epps, Miles Sanders, Kazir White, and now Sam Alu and Gardner Minshew. Okay. Really, outside of Hargrave, was there a loss in there? Like a burn?
Edwards. I would have liked to keep Edwards.
I would have liked to keep
Edwards. I understand, too. He was going to get paid.
Yeah.
And he did. And he got to go play. He's
playing.
But
I'm talking a real loss. You're that one hurts. Looking at
Miles Sanders. I know a lot of people weren't sold on Sanders, but he had over 1,000 yards rushing. I love
Miles Sanders, but the fact that we have 3 running backs for the price, less than what he's getting paid for 1 year.
I know, but he was going to get paid because of his production that he did.
Sure, no, and I think he deserves it 100%.
I think he's going to do well there. I really do.
My thing is with him is we are not going to put $5+ million into a running back. We're just not going to do it. They're not going to. I don't ever see the Eagles. I mean,
well, they never did. The only running back they ever paid was Westbrook.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
So they ran him into the ground.
Yeah, I mean, they paid him well, ran him into the ground. But I mean, we always had good runners. I mean, God, look at Terrell Buckholder. Buckholder used to run real crazy for us, and then when he wasn't smoking, getting high, he went to Colorado, went to Denver, and look what he did in Denver. He's a good running back out there too.
Right. So, well, look, guys, we're about to get ready to wrap up the program. Again, not much to watch today, but however, we do have a Philadelphia Wings team that's in a hunt for a playoff spot.
I'll be to watch, brother. You got 8 hours of college hoops on today.
I mean,
it's madness, brother.
It is Philly sports.
Philly sports.
Phillies, 1:00.
Yeah.
The Red Sox.
Oh, you went the lineup card?
Yeah, get it. Whip it out.
I'm putting my lineup card away.
I'm gonna tuck it in.
Yeah, I'm going to tuck it back in. All right. So your lineup is, and my app to load here. All right, that's great. Jeez.
But yeah, we got Phillies preseason.
How about Mick Abel last night? The number 2 prospect of the Phillies shutting that Braves lineup down last night.
Yeah.
He looked. Might see him up here in a couple of years. You're going to talk about a foursome. Holy God, the 4 horsemen are back, dude.
Oh, I love a good foursome. But
what's your meal today? What food are you stuffing
Here's
down
your
that?
lineup real quick.
Yeah.
Bryson Stott leads off. He's at second. Hoskins is at first at 2. Nick Castellanos is right field at 3. Edmundo Sosa's center field at 4. He's got so much power. He's hitting the 4-hole. I gotta love it.
Yes.
Dalton Guthrie is playing shortstop at 5. Jim Haley, who's had a couple of home runs lately, local guy. Third, he's at third base at number 6. Weston Wilson, who's giving them reasons to look at him, is in left field at 7. Max McDowell is at catcher because they're still hurt a little bit right now there at 8. And Cody Roberts is DH. Cody Roberts. And there's your lineup for today.
Well, there you go. And
they're
we
playing
got
the Red Sox.
Hey, listen, now we got 2 things to look out for. So we'll watch a little Phillies preseason, and then we got the Wings in a playoff hunt. So here goes our man Sean checking into the program. He says, "What's up, play it, Pat? What? Stop making fun of my shirt, guys." And March Madness, baby, yeah,
March Madness. I mean, some of these games have been really good. A couple number ones went down.
Plaid Pat. Is that your new nickname?
Plaid
Pat.
But
stop ripping on me. I'm very sensitive.
Man, I took UConn. If you go and look at the EOP, I took UConn to win it all. So I think I think
you have a bracket that looks like this, though. I want to meet one person to show me their bracket that looks like this.
Yeah, right.
Oh no, nobody's got this one.
Somebody's like, I'm going to fill out a $5 bracket and like just be ridiculous with it. That's as far as that's going to go.
Yeah. Matter of fact, they said out of all the brackets, there was like 20 million brackets. There's not a perfect one.
No. So a lot of people missed out.
Well, Pat, again, what are you stuffing in your goblet today?
Oh man,
Are you saying the goblet?
The goblet.
The goblet.
I don't know. I know what I feel like a good burger. I want to get a good burger in my mouth.
I'm actually breaking out the Blackstone or the Blackstone today.
Are you?
Griddle, and I'm going to be burgering it up today.
Yeah, I feel like a burger. I had pasta last night. I'm ready for some meat in my mouth.
I'm going to do some chili. I'm going to do some nice chili. And tonight for dinner, I'm actually going. Me and the wife. It was her idea. She wants to do sloppy joes tonight. So
that's a throwback.
Good sloppy joes goes a long way.
Yes.
My wife used to laugh at me because she thought it was weird that I put cheese on my sloppy joes.
What? You got to.
You got to. I get the sharp cheddar slices, like the little the Ziploc bag.
Yeah.
And I put some hot sauce on that thing.
Same
I like
thing.
it spicy chili.
See, I don't put it. I only put it on mine because the wife and the mother-in-law don't eat spice. They don't do spicy.
Yeah, that's
what I do. I got
even if I mix it, I still put it on top.
Bro, sriracha sauce, dude, right on top.
Blackened ranch dressing on a sloppy joe goes a long way.
Did you say blackened ranch dressing?
So you take blackening seasoning, which is pretty much Cajun seasoning,
yes,
and you mix it into ranch dressing.
Oh, I gotta try that.
Yeah, it's like so for people who like a little spice but don't like a lot of spice. Like my wife and my kids are like that. You just butter that on the bread a little bit. Wow, there you go.
You ready to feel old, Al? I got so I work with a 20-year-old kid.
I do that every day.
Yeah, I work with a 20-year-old kid, right? So this kid Billy, he's eating potato chips and he's eating a ham and cheese sandwich. I'm like, bro, why don't you put the chips in your ham and cheese sandwich? He's like, well, who in the right mind does that? I was like, dude, that's a throwback 90s sandwich. Who doesn't do that? He goes, well, I'm not old like you. I'm like, come on, bro. I was like, that's like
actually the first part. It's a crunch thing. Some people just
yes.
That's why lettuce is on sandwiches. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
People put lettuce, like delis put lettuce on sandwiches because of the crunch factor.
Right.
Because people like having that crunchiness. Makes it feel fresh, I guess. I don't know what it is. Me, I personally do not like lettuce on most sandwiches, but definitely hot sandwiches. I don't do that.
What?
But I'm not saying it's a weird thing, but I was never big on the chips on a sandwich.
Really?
Yeah, and you know why? It's because I hate Pittsburgh. and you're gonna be like, "What's that have to do with anything?"
They throw everything on their sandwich.
Well, that's what their sandwiches have, the French fries and everything on the sandwich.
Yes.
And they only got like
I actually
they had like a short lunch break,
yeah, and
that's when they put everything. That's why they
Texture's important now.
Well, here's the thing, like like Pat would have been perfect as a Yinzer.
brother.
Pat would have been perfect as a Yinzer. Working the mine factories out there in Pittsburgh because
Yeah, don't
you
worry about
stuff
the-
everything in your mouth
and-
anyway.
Yes.
And you don't have to worry about losing brain cells,
Yeah.
so you're good.
Yeah, bingo.
But I mean, like, listen, like my only time I was ever out that way, we did go to a Permani Brothers. Actually, the guy TJ who texted me and him and another friend of ours.
That's
And
their claim to fame.
yeah, and he literally told me, he's like, nah, dude, he's like, our friend Nick's like, yo, you got to really put it on there. Like, and I'm like,
Don't they do it for you?
I'm like, wait a minute. I'm like,
Doesn't Pelmonte Brothers do it for you? You have to do it yourself.
yes, but you have the option now. Well, then you had the option. This is like 10 years ago. But you had the option to tell them, put it on the side and you do it, or they'll do it for you. So I had it on the side. He's like, oh, no, dude, put it all in there and eat it. I'm like, nah, bro. I'm like,
I heard there's one supposed to be coming this way into the Philly area.
I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, they got Mr. Ticky and Pete's kind of move out there.
Yeah,
so.
but their food sucks. Our food's good. Like, that's not just being like, oh,
Yeah.
Homer. Like, I've been out to Pittsburgh.
I had the Roethlisberger one. It was cool.
Yeah,
Like,
it
gives you a full.
until I woke up in the bathroom.
Well,
with my
here's the
pants
thing.
down. Like,
Well,
my Roethlisberger.
Well, here's the thing. You get a Roethlisberger. If you get a Roethlisberger from Permani's, you will wake up, with your pants down around your ankles and not realize how you got there.
in that bathroom.
Hey, listen,
It happens.
I just remember getting to a fight with a Pittsburghian, or an Inzer, as we would say. But yeah, because I was out there in Harrisburg for work, whatever, and they had a Panniers Brothers out there. So I said, hey, listen, while I'm eating this sandwich, I got to eat this dirty burger on white bread. Can you do me a favor, turn on the Phillies and Mets game? I'd rather watch this than this Pittsburgh Penguins matchup. I care less. So he's getting heated. He's like, gets the remote, puts it on. He's looking at me. He's like, "You happy?" I said, "Yeah, I'm happy. I'm the customer." So I go to the bathroom. I come back. He's got the Pittsburgh Penguin. I said, "I don't want to watch it." He's like, "If you don't watch that bleeping stuff, you go back to Philly and watch it." He's like, "This is my bar. We're not watching that junk." And me and him are having words, and my boss is like, "Yo, Pat, calm down." And I said, "Screw him." I said, "I'm the customer. I get what I want." He's like, "I'm like, I forget Pittsburgh." So
yeah, they're like that, man. Don't get me wrong.
There's Penguin heaven out there.
Yeah, there's some Pittsburgh fans that are cool as hell. There's other ones, man. You just like,
and then the part is
go take a walk in that river you set on fire.
Yeah, I mean, but I get it. But we're in the middle of state. I'm not in your zone.
Pick a river. You got 3 of them.
Yeah,
throw yourself in there. You dirty. Anyway.
Although I can't wait this summer. I am going out there. Me and Sully.
I am going to be out there too.
Yeah, we're going to go out there for that. We actually have an out of the box meetup out there for that. So we're actually going. Supposed to be going out. I know me and Sully said we're going out. I just want to go to the park because I heard the park is awesome.
PNC Park is nice.
It
is nice.
I've been to the big ketchup bottle. That's a gorgeous. It's a gorgeous stadium. It's kind of like our area a little bit, except where the Penguins plays, not near there.
I've been to the Igloo. I've never been out to the Pirates.
I went to the old Igloo.
I've eaten at the one place I did enjoy when I was in Pittsburgh. There's a restaurant that's on an elevator that goes up the hill, up the outside. It's pretty cool. They have things that you go up and they'll take you up the mountain, so you don't have to drive all the way around into the city. Like you can park up there and take it down.
Oh yeah, the little tram cars.
Yeah,
I don't trust them things as far as I
go
can
up and
throw
down
them.
the.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm telling. If you
the rest of it's a piss hole though.
Yeah, it is piss. Dude, like I said, when I retired from the business, I didn't feel like a heel. But walking into Pittsburgh with Flyers gear on during that time, getting booed and everyone told me get out of their town and all this, I loved it. I enjoy that kind of being hated. So anyway, guys, this has been a great show, the PM and the AM. Mike, thank you so much for joining us, and my big man Al. And of course, before we roll out of here, let's get through some of these great sponsors of the program. Here we go, our man David Archerry, Esquire. Hit him up from working compensation, medical vehicle accident, personal injury, criminal law. Just hit him up if you're dealing with any of those issues. Hit him up today.
And of course, if you're looking to go take your gal out for a special night, or if you just want to get great seats at the game, make sure you go over to Sherry's Tickets. Make sure you use the promo code EOP10. And trust me, guys, what you see is what you will pay. They do not charge nothing else other than what you see is what you get, and they always have it. So, guys, make sure you go over there at cherrystix.com.
And guys, Philly Sports Trips, go hit them up. Tell them Edge of Philly Sports sent you. Look at all the great trips that are coming up for the baseball season. You got Philly going head up to the Yankee Stadium. If you guys never been to the Bronx, go out there for a beautiful time. You and your family head up Philly Sports Trips. Guys, you guys want to represent the Birds down in KC, go do that as well. Whether they're having the big draft down there. Again, look at this big total package coming up. If you're a 5 for 5 guy, you guys want to see the Union. You guys want to see the Phillies take on the Colorado, Rockies. Go out there, enjoy yourself, have a good time out there, and of course, the Union going across the pond, for London. Go out there as well, enjoy yourself. Too many great trips coming up. Philly Sports Trips. Tell them EOP Stensky.
And if you can't get out there to go watch it, you can always go to 24 East Sellers Ave. That's right. That's the home of Dolan's Bar here in Ridley. Make sure you go out there. They have Quizzo music, great times. They do memorabilia giveaway. And make sure if you do see PJ, just tell them that the boys at EOP sent you there. It's always a great time at Dolan's. So, guys, with that being said, I'm Mike Laro, of course, from my sidekick, Pat Bernard.
Yeah, and our man out. We are out.